of your radio. You are listening to Power FM. This is 365 Power FM. Mo ní ọ̀rẹ́ mi dákun màmá yìí tó wà lórí dá ìyẹn gangan no controversy ní nọ́mbà yẹn 365 FM Power FM yóò ti wá máa ní Power FM yóò ti wá máa ní ìròyìn tó kún fọ́fọ́ lágbàlá wa máa ní Power FM yóò ti wá máa ní ètò tó gbámúṣe lágbàlá wa lẹ́ ó ti gbọ́ Power FM yóò ti wá máa ní 365 FM tiwa máa ní Power FM yóò ti wá máa ní èmi Ṣẹ́gun Fowórà lóní kẹ́ máa gbọ́ Power FM yóò ti wá máa ní.
This is Power 365 Radio. Get ready to experience dynamic energy and professionalism. At Power 365 Radio, we pride ourselves on being your go-to source for authentic news and insight. Be it breaking news, thought-provoking discussions, we are your #1 online radio station in Southwest Nigeria. We are dedicated to delivering top-notch content that keeps you informed, entertained, and engaged. Stay connected on Power 365 Radio by following us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook at Power 365 FM, Instagram at Power 365_FM. Power 365 Radio, your source for news and insight.
Good evening. This is Power 365 FM, your #1 online radio in Ibadan and its environs. This is the world news. I am Ademuyiwa Oluokun. Now, the major headlines. Federal government threatens to revoke disco's licenses. Senate to meet Tinubu. Declare state of emergency on drug abuse. Reps tell federal government. Oyo senior citizens get free medical checkup medications. UCH resident doctors embark on strike over assault on colleague. Court convicts undergraduate for UTME malpractices in Ondo. Makinde donates 28 buses to tertiary institutions. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, you could join us on our Facebook handle at Power 365 FM. You could also the deteriorating state of electricity supply across the country. This, it said, prompted him to summon the chief executive of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company and Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, and also the managing director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Alhaji Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz. It said management of other non-performing discos would also be queried over non-performance as reports continue to filter in on the situation in other regions. Amidst continuous killings by herdsmen and bandits, the Senate on Wednesday resolved to meet President Bola Tinubu with all the resolutions on the motion towards ending and the continued killings of farmers by armed herdsmen in Benue Northeast and Nigeria at large. The Senate declaration was on the heels of a motion on the continuing killings by suspected terrorists parading as herdsmen and insecurity in Kwande, Ukum, and Logo and Katsina Ala local government areas in Benue Northeast Senatorial District. Presenting his motion under matters of urgent public importance, the senator representing the Senatorial District, Emmanuel Menga Udende, revealed that no fewer than 50 persons have been killed in fresh attacks on several communities in Kwande, Ukum, Logo, and Katsina Ala local government areas of Benue State by terrorists parading as herdsmen. The House of Representatives on Wednesday called on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on drug abuse and allocate resources to the identification of drug abuse response and treatment, with a view to avert a national catastrophe of unimaginable dimension in the country. The resolution was passed sequel to the adoption of a motion sponsored by Honorable Adamu Gamawa, who called for House intervention. In his lead debate, Honorable Gamawa observed that lack of a prescription policy on drug and indiscriminate drug sales by druggists, pharmacists, patent medicine dealers, and street vendors staffed by unqualified personnel, which ultimately leads to antibiotic resistance and drug abuse. Meanwhile, from Oyo State, on Wednesday, no fewer than 300 elderly persons were beneficiaries of free medical checkups, medications, and consumables under the auspices of the Omi Tutun for Life Foundation. The Senior Citizens Healthcare Outreach held at the Oyo State Government House, Ibadan, saw medical practitioners run tests for the beneficiaries, particularly retirees, to check their blood sugar and blood pressure, PCV, and receive the requisite drugs. Speaking at the event, the wife of the governor of Oyo State, Mrs. Tamuno Minini Makinde, tasked the senior citizens with eating healthy, regular medical checkups, controlled consumption of foods with high calories and cholesterol, and adequate rest. She said the foundation deemed it fit to extend its hand of care and support to the elderly, having done the same for women, widows, young girls, and less privileged persons in the state. In his remarks, the Secretary, Nigeria Union of Pensioners of your state, Mr. Olusegun Abaton, thanked the governor's wife for the gesture, saying it is the first time in the history of the Western region that the wife of a state governor would find pensioners worthy of a healthcare outreach. So, resident doctors at the University College Hospital Ibadan, under the aegis of Association of Resident Doctors, have commenced a 3-day protest following an alleged violent assault by some relatives of a patient on one of their members. Here are the president, Dr. John Oladapo, revealed on Thursday that the doctors are demanding a public apology in 2 national newspapers from the people who assaulted their member and inflicted injuries on him on Sunday. He nevertheless called on the hospital management to improve its security architecture to avoid future occurrences in the hospital. Legal proceedings against those suspected to be involved in the January 16, 2024 explosion in Bodija in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, has commenced as the Federal High Court in Ibadan has ordered that a woman and 2 men be remanded in prison for their suspected roles in the incident. The presiding judge, Justice Ekerete Akpan of Federal High Court 2, Ibadan, ordered that the 3 persons, a female and 2 males, be remanded in Agodi Correctional Center after hearing their pleas. The suspects pleaded not guilty to the charges brought against them. The police charged a woman, Ramatu Kamara, 47, Ganiu Malik, 20, and Abubakar Samasa, 64, with conspiracy, use of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, stockpiling of radioactive materials, and disposal of biological weapons. Meanwhile, the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has said that his administration will continue to give its best to the people of the state despite the challenging times. The governor said this on Thursday during the presentation of 28 18-seater buses to tertiary institutions in the state at the car park of the governor's office, State Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. While addressing the students, Governor Makinde, who noted that the country is passing through a tough period, assured that the period will soon be over, adding that his administration would not relent in giving the best to the state and its people. The Federal High Court sitting in Akure has convicted an undergraduate of Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba, for impersonation and examination malpractice during the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME). The presiding judge, Honorable Justice T.B. Adegoke, in a judgment delivered on March 5, found the defendant Adesuyi Feranmi guilty of 2 counts of conspiracy and examination impersonation. This is barely 1 month after an Abuja Grade A court sentenced a computer-based test center owner to jail for an act of infraction. That ends the world news at 4:30. Thank you for joining us. But before we go, let us bring you the headlines once again. Federal government threatens to revoke disco's licenses. The Senate to meet President Tinubu. Declare state of emergency on drug abuse. Reps tell federal government. Oyo senior citizens get free medical checkup medications. Governor Makinde donates 28 buses to tertiary institutions. UCH resident doctors embark on strike over assault on colleague. Court convicts undergraduates for UTME malpractices in Ondo. And that ends the world at 4:30. Thank you for joining us. You may still join us on our social media handles on Facebook at Power365FM, on Instagram at Power365_FM, on Twitter at PowerOnline365, while on YouTube we are at Power365FM. Once again, my name is Ade Muiwa Oloko. Thank you for joining us.
This is Power 365 Radio. Get ready to experience dynamic energy and professionalism. At Power 365 Radio, we pride ourselves on being your go-to source for authentic news and insight. Be it breaking news, thought-provoking discussions, we are your #1 online radio station in Southwest Nigeria. We are dedicated to delivering top-notch content that keeps you informed, entertained, and engaged. Stay connected on Power 365 Radio by following us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook at Power 365 FM, Instagram at Power 365_FM. Power 365 Radio, your source for news and insight.